Why Hamilton is not the greatest of all time is the name of the next video. I was recommended this video by Herman. Now you might be wondering, why is this a thing? Hamilton is a 7-time world champion. So you know what I'm saying? That tends to go hand in hand with the term greatest of all time in any sport. You know what I mean? In football, you got Tom Brady with, what is it, like 7 or 8 Super Bowls? You know what I'm saying the greatest of all time comes to play. Like, you know what I'm saying? In basketball, you got Michael Jordan with 6 titles. You know what I'm saying? You tend to hear the term greatest of all time. So that's why, in case you're wondering, that's why his name is being mentioned with the term greatest of all time. Or with the phrase, I mean. The GOAT. But apparently this video is going to tell us why he's not. And he's probably going to make a case for, I'm assuming, Schumacher or Ayrton Senna. Because those are the only two, from what I've been looking at in the comments, that people really believe are the greatest compared to Hamilton. But we're going to be checking out this video by FormulaWorld. Link in the description if you want to check out the original video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And let's run it up, man. Let's not be disrespectful though. Let's not be disrespectful though, because Hamilton is a 7-time world champion. So let's not be disrespectful. Starting now.
Many feel that it is only a matter of time before Mercedes Lewis Hamilton will surpass Michael Schumacher's record for the most F1 wins and titles.
Okay.
This has encouraged some to suggest that Lewis Hamilton is in contention for the moniker of greatest driver ever. 3-time world champion Jackie Stewart does not agree with this notion, and during the In the Fast Lane podcast, he has now explained why. I'm your host, Dylan Shelley, and first up on FormulaWorld, difficult to justify Lewis as the greatest.
Difficult. Okay, this is going to be
Stewart
interesting.
began by revealing his picks for the greatest driver ever. Juan Manuel Fangio is in my mind the greatest driver
I
ever
forgot
lived,
about him.
and with Jim Clark as the second greatest, even ahead of Ayrton Senna. He then compared the drivers from the past to the current drivers. Those people sometimes only ran maybe 6, 8 or 9 races a year in the Formula 1. They drove sports cars, GTs, etc. But in the World Championships now, Lewis Hamilton or any of the other top contenders today are doing 22 races or 21 races, but only in F1. It is not the same playground. He reiterated he is not looking down on Lewis's accomplishments, but added how Mercedes' dominance has played a big role in his success. Lewis drives extremely well, make no mistake. I'm in no way diminishing his skills. Lewis made a very good decision when he left McLaren at that time and went to Mercedes-Benz. Hats off to him for making that decision. But frankly, the car and the engine are now so superior that it is almost unfair on the rest of the field. It's not quite the same as being able to do it in a less than the best car, and that's where there sometimes was a difference between the very, very great drivers and the ones who were very successful. Stewart then explained why he is qualified enough to make such an observation. It is difficult to say that about Lewis, not being as good as, say, Fangio was in my mind, and a lot of people will find fault in that. But I have been watching motor racing since I was a little boy. I saw some of the best racing drivers in the world. He then compared Lewis to Michael Schumacher and reiterated why it would be difficult to justify Lewis as the greatest against all these drivers. Schumacher made Ferrari buy the best engineers, the best designers, the best aerodynamicists. He really was a giant in thinking, apart from his driving. To say that Lewis is the greatest of all time would be difficult for me to justify against the sheer power of what the other drivers were doing. He signed off by pointing out the one thing that was different in his era which makes gauging the greatness of a current driver difficult. During my time, everybody had a Ford Cosworth except Ferrari. There was a level playing field that simply doesn't exist today, so it is difficult to identify who really are the very, very best racing drivers just behind the steering wheel.
Jackie Stewart seemed to have made some good points there. I forgot about Fangio, because I'm saying he's way past my time. My time is, what is it, last year. So he's way past my time. So yeah, I mean, whatever he said, I'm not gonna come in here and disagree. I'm not that guy. Like, I'm just simply not that guy. So yeah, it seems to be tough to make a case for Lewis. It seems to be tough when you put it like that, and you're not just talking about how fast the guy is going in Formula 1, and you like put like a bit of context to it, like, oh yeah, these dudes were racing with these type of cars, they were racing in these type of circumstances, like, you know what I'm saying, when you put some like a bit more context to it, and you isolate the driver from his car, you could make the argument that it is a little difficult for Lewis to be the greatest of all time. You could make that argument that it's difficult to call Lewis the greatest of all time, like what he just did. When you isolate the driver from their car like he just did, because he isolated Lewis from his car and compared him to Fangio, Schumacher, and Jim Clark. And when you do that, it's hard, like he said, to prove Lewis as the greatest. But y'all can let me know in the comments what you think. If he's wrong, let me know. But he's a little, he's nice and qualified to say what he said. So don't get too aggressive. But hopefully you enjoyed the video though. Let me know what you think about the video in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace. Turn off.